What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be doing another Manchester City transfer update. We're rolling out daily Manchester City transfer updates throughout all of the summer transfer window here on YouTube. So if you want to stay up to date first and fast every single day with all the latest City transfer news, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It is free. Also, don't forget as well, social media links there in the description below if you want to go and check me out and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. It's also sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and search for me and follow me on there. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. TikTok link in the description if you want to go and follow me on there as well. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and also don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Remember, 300 likes is the aim, so any help towards that would be much appreciated. So it's been very busy in the last 24 hours. Got lots to get through, so we're going to start off with the outs, and we've got the very latest on Yan Couto. Now, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Bologna are over in Italy. They're interested in signing Yan Couto this summer. Manchester City, they're still debating on what is best to do for Yan Couto and also his progress, and also debating about what is best for the City Football Group, the CFG, as well. So waiting for further clarification on what Manchester City choose to do with Yan Couto. Of course, a move to Bologna would see him leave the CFG and leave Manchester City and no longer have any association with the CFG. So we'll see. Now, moving on, we've got the very latest on Joao Cancelo, and Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that nothing has changed from the stance of Manchester City and from Joao Cancelo as well. Manchester City want to sell him this summer. Joao Cancelo wants to leave Manchester City. He wants out. We're waiting for suitable clubs to come in to make a bid and Manchester City to sell Joao Cancelo. I know there's a little bit of interest from Saudi Arabia, but other than that, it is very quiet on linking him with the exit door. We'll see. We know Arsenal have been interested. Manchester City not too keen on selling their players to Premier League teams, in particular those that are in the Champions League and competing potentially for the Premier League title. Now, moving on, we've got the very latest on Kyle Walker and Manchester City. They're working to try and get Kyle Walker now on a new deal after strong interest has come in from Bayern Munich. His contract is up next summer in less than, 13 months' time. Now, the Mail are saying that Kyle Walker, he is keen to stay at Manchester City, and if the choice was between staying at Manchester City and signing a new deal or going to Bayern Munich, Kyle Walker has said he'd rather stay at Manchester City, which is massive. And Fabrizio Romano has also confirmed that Kyle Walker and Manchester City have over the last few days opened up contract renewal talks. So this move from Bayern Munich seems to have forced Manchester City's hand to try and get Kyle Walker on a new deal. The one thing City won't want to do is lose Cancelo and Walker in the same window, because if Man City ever want to revert back to a back four, we've got Rico Lewis, who's got a handful of experience with appearances for Manchester City in the Premier League, but we've not really got anybody else. You've got other players that can come in and play in that position, but it isn't their natural position. So I would have thought that Manchester City here would want to keep hold of their strongest right back in Kyle Walker, and I think it's brilliant news that we are in discussions to try and extend his deal. If we can get that done, then to me, that is as good as a new signing, because after all, we won the treble, we're a fantastic football team, and I genuinely do feel that Manchester City should be doing more to make sure they're keeping hold of this current crop of players, because they are special. They are very good football players, and there isn't many ways to improve on what we have already got unless we're to sell players to bring other players in. It takes time for them to settle in. If you're saying to me, would I rather Kyle Walker left and we replace him with somebody else and it's going to take them 2 seasons, give me Kyle Walker. He's still good, still got another couple of years at least in him, so I'd rather keep him if I'm completely honest. So I'm delighted with that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get him on a new deal. Now, moving on, the very latest on Bernardo Silva, and he does have interest from Saudi Arabia, just like Riyad Mahrez does. Bernardo Silva is believed to be considering the offers coming in from Saudi Arabia. I would presume that if Man City are to sell any players from our current first team squad to any clubs in Saudi Arabia, City would be commanding a massive transfer fee, and I imagine City would probably sprinkle an extra few £1 million on top of what is already their value. So Bernardo Silva, we know City are looking for around 70, maybe even £80 million. If a Saudi Arabian club wants him for him, I'd be asking them for a lot of money. They'd be paying Bernardo Silva a lot of money, so I'd probably be asking for the triple-digit million figures here and looking for at least £100 million million. But if Bernardo Silva does leave, I think it will be to a top European club rather than to Saudi Arabia. But we'll have to wait and see. It won't be the first and won't be the last player considering and making that move to Saudi Arabia. Now, Mahrez, Bernardo, Gundogan, Cancelo, according to James Berge of CBS, all have offers from Saudi Arabia. David Ornstein has said that Bernardo Silva is keeping his options open, but he would turn down an offer from Saudi Arabia if he did get a concrete offer accepted for him from one of Barcelona or Paris Saint-Germain. Barcelona's not happening. PSG is more viable for me. But if he wants his move to Iberia, I'm surprised his agent isn't sitting down and speaking with Real Madrid. They're prepared to spend a lot of money this summer. And I would have thought that Bernardo Silva would have been the quality that they'd be looking for, both in the central park of them in their midfield and also out wide as well. He's a very versatile player. I'm amazed Real Madrid aren't interested in Bernardo Silva. But summer is long. Anything can happen. Now, moving on to the final story of the hours, Ilkay Gundogan. He's going to make a decision this week on his future. Xavi Miguel over in Spain says that Manchester City right now pushing really hard to try and get him onto a new deal. City prepared to go beyond their 12-month extension and offer Ilkay Gundogan a 2-year extension. Barcelona's offer at the moment is 3 years for Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan, same boat really as Kyle Walker. It seems to me anyway that he's keen on a stay at Manchester City. It just, the numbers need to match, the contract length needs to match, and if we do that, we'll keep hold of these top players. And as I said with Kyle Walker, same with Ilkay Gundogan. Why go out there and spend millions of pounds to replace these players, and it takes them a season or two to adapt to get to their strongest level when we've already got players here who are good to go for another good couple of years. Get him on a 2-year contract and go from there, in my opinion. Now, moving on to the ins, Kylian Mbappe, not going to be happening. He won't be joining Manchester City, confirmed by Pep Guardiola. Made me laugh this. He's put the rumour to bed and said, we all know where Kylian Mbappe, if he leaves PSG, where he wants to go. And it won't be Manchester City. It will be another team that I have already mentioned in this video. And if you're not already aware, Real Madrid. That's where he'll end up. Now, moving on, we've got the very latest on Declan Rice. Now, Arsenal, they've made a £75 million bid plus £15 million in add-on, so a deal worth £90 million to West Ham. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Manchester City are expected at some point this week to join the race for him. I do imagine a lot does depend on what happens with Ilkay Gundogan, but that's very interesting. Declan Rice's name refusing to go away. Now, moving on, a new name, Kim Min-Jae. He's expected anyway to join Bayern Munich from Napoli. Apparently, it's hit some complications. Bayern Munich still favourites, but Manchester City, they're interested. Why? Well, he's got a release clause. Napoli normally have very high release clauses. You've got to negotiate the price. Manchester City don't like doing that. Certainly don't like doing that with Napoli after what happened with Kalidou Koulibaly and Jorginho as well. However, with him having a release clause, €45 million, which is valid until July 15th of this year, does make him an option. Centre-back, obviously a high standard that we're looking at, experienced in Europe, had a great season, and to me, a brilliant alternative to Josko Gvardiol if he does prove to not either want to join Manchester City or proves to be too expensive. But time is ticking. Manuel Bonke over in Germany is a source with Bayern Munich saying that Manchester City's name is being chucked out there. I presume, rather than reading too much into it, I imagine this is a move from the players' camp here to try and get Bayern to force through that transfer to make it happen, whilst also getting an extra few £1 million in some bonuses and wages as well. Now, moving on, we've got the very latest on Mateo Kovacic. I did say we've got a lot to get through, and there is a lot of stories. It's very, very, very interesting and a lot of things happening very quickly out there. We're straight into our stride here with transfer updates, but Kovacic, I'm expecting him to be the first player Manchester City do sign this summer. Fabrizio Romano has said that City are offering €25 million. Chelsea are believed to be wanting around €30 million. The final details on this transfer need to be sorted. I thought we might get more developments this week in this transfer happening. Been quite interesting because Sam Lee's confirmed that Manchester City have indeed now submitted a written bid to Chelsea, believed to be €25 million. Chelsea, I think, are going to reject this, and Manchester City are going to come back, and it'll probably be a deal worth €25 million. plus €5 million in add-ons to get the transfer to happen. The transfer isn't far from happening. We've got the personal terms already agreed. So once we get that fee agreed, Kovacic will come over to Manchester. He will do his medical with Manchester City, and then he'll do obviously his shirt unveiling and all the interviews and everything that comes with the transfer. I thought it might be done at the end of this week, but we're running out of time, I would say, unless we get a big development of a fee being agreed by tomorrow. If not, I suspect it'll probably be next week where Manchester City add Mateo Kovacic to their team. And speaking of Croatian internationals, takes us very nicely onto Josko Gvardiol, and Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that once Kovacic is signed, sealed and secured, June 30th is the date City are looking at to get that transfer done and dusted. All focus for City is going to turn in terms of the ins towards Josko Gvardiol. Personal terms very close to being agreed, but still not being agreed yet. Manchester City will need to negotiate the fee. Manchester City are happy to pay around €80 million. And RB Leipzig, they're wanting much more. I've heard €100 million is what we're looking at there. And so a big difference, €20 million to make that gap between 80 to €100 million. So we'll see what happens with negotiations for that. As we've seen previously with Manchester City transfers, it takes these players to request and force through transfers to make them happen, like what Jack Grealish did with Aston Villa, like Erling Haaland did with Borussia Dortmund. You've got to communicate it nice and early. I want to go to Manchester City. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to go to Manchester City. Make that transfer happen. And that's how Man City work on their transfers. And that's what's going to happen for me, for Gvardiol to join Manchester City, because Leipzig, they're still convinced they'll be able to keep Gvardiol for at least another 12 months, unless a club like City are prepared to pay what they're looking for, which is a world record fee for a centre-back. We'll see. Now moving on to the final transfer, and this is very interesting. Romeo Lavia. I know a lot of you guys are always commenting saying, why is City not making a move? Are Man City making a move for Lavia? Well, Manchester City have a buyback option valid until 2024. We've also got a sell-on fee included with that when we sold him to Southampton. Southampton being relegated, they're going to sell Romeo Lavia. That is going to happen. Mark my words, that will happen. They're looking for a club record fee for an under-21 player. Arsenal are set to make a move for him. Chelsea are being kept up to date. Manchester United are being kept up to date. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. But with City having that cheaper buyback clause there, may Manchester City want to bring Romeo Lavia back to the club? And certainly if we end up losing midfielders, surely Romeo Lavia should be an option here for Manchester City. And I think this is something just to keep my eyes and ears open for. Worst case scenario, Lavia leaves Southampton and Man City makes some millions of pounds back in that sell-on fee. I presume it's at least 20%. So let's say he's sold for around £40 million. Manchester City will be making a nice cool £8 million that can be put towards maybe making that gap between Josko Gvardiol from €80 million to €100 million. We'll have to wait and see. But when I do get that news, that scoop, I will keep you guys up to date every single day. Daily Manchester City transfer updates. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on that big push to 30,000 subscribers. Now less than 350 subs away. So any help towards that would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget social media links. They're in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. TikTok link also in the description if you want to go and follow me on there. Leave a thumbs up, 300 likes is the aim. And finally, and most importantly, do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, as I'm always interested in what you do have to say with regards to these transfers. And I will see you guys all again tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.